Michael, hey, Jim Delapine here. I want to give you some video feedback on your amazing character. Just a few tips here and a few suggestions. I love your idea and how you're thinking with regards to the background redness of the sky, but it takes away from the character in a sense. But I wanted to offer you another suggestion. I kind of had a vision as to what would look good in here, especially since this roadway it doesn't match quite the perspective of the character and the wheels here at the base. So what I did was I did a quick search and I found this image here, which I thought would be appropriate. So I'm going to copy this image and I'm going to bring this in and show you the difference here. I'll just select the sky layer and just paste it. So it does need to be scaled up. I'll also hide the roadway, and I will hide that here. So this new image scaled up, let's see here. I'm going to hold down Shift and Alt, and that will scale out from the center, and I'll get something like that. So I have a lot of width here, so I can shift it over if I wanted to wherever I want. All right, so whatever looks good. So let me hit enter to apply that, and now we can bring down the let's see, the road sign here, and then there's a shadow. So I'm going to select both by shift clicking and just simply dragging this down, and I'll put it here. All right, so I think that works a bit better, and it still has the same concept or feeling that you were trying to achieve with this terrible image. All right, so I mean, the text doesn't, that's a great idea. I love it. Doesn't exactly stand out, but it's okay. Let's see, what else? I see that you did your adjustment layers and their clipping paths. That's great. You need to save and rename a channel. A selection is a channel, so you need to do that. I'll put directions in my comments. And with regards to the adjustment layers, this is how you can really improve an image. So for example, this base here, I don't know what you call it. You call it the RC car. It looks a little smoky. It doesn't look. It needs more contrast. So I always check the levels of that image when I look at that. So if I select that image, make sure if you're in the Move tool, you can go right to that layer by clicking on it if you have the auto select option checked here. All right, and you're in the Move tool. So if I click on that, notice how everything jumps around to lay the layer. It's a quick way of identifying a layer. So with that layer active, since you clipped the RC lighting, the lighting option here, if I create another adjustment layer, it'll automatically clip to it. So if I go to levels, let's say, all right, so you can see it's automatically a clipping mask. All right. So note that the histogram comes up for the levels, and this here is an indication that there's very few lighter pixels here. All right. So ideally, you want an average. Okay. So what you can do is bring in the lighter pixels by clicking on this highlight slider and dragging this to the left, and you'll notice that you start to get a lightening and more contrast. So you can also bring this over to the right a little bit, the shadows and the midtones. You can fool around with this until you get what you want. Of course, you can't have something too dramatic, but you just want this to stand out a little bit more. So do what you think looks best. All right. This might take it. Let's see the body. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, you can make your adjustments and balance everything out accordingly. You just want to make sure that your character stands out. All right, so I'm going to attach this image here in case you're interested in using it, this background. All right, I did have to scale it up a little bit, but it's okay. This looks fine. One last thing, I note that like cutting this RC car out, you've got some highlights around the background. So if I go to that layer here and just disable the layer mask by right clicking on it temporarily, so that's the original image. Okay, so since it's white, you're bound to get some of that no matter how good of a job you do. So what you can do to compensate for that is this. if you select the image portion of the RC car layer, go to your paintbrush tool. All right, I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to choose this. I'm going to get a smaller brush. So if you hit the left bracket key, you'll decrease the brush size. The right bracket key will increase it. So I'm going to get a relatively small one. So while I'm in the paintbrush, I'm also going to zoom in, so spacebar control. So while I'm in the paintbrush, I'm going to hold down the Alt key, and that gives me the sample, the color sample tool. And I'm going to just click on one of these tools that's adjacent to the edge here, okay? That's kind of important, all right? So now I'm going to let go, and I'm going to put this paintbrush into darken mode. So that will darken the pixels underneath. And now when I paint, I'm painting in a darker value. But note that here it's too brown, so I picked up a pixel that was too brown. Okay, so let me sample another darker color, and that looks better. This is not working out as good as I liked. Well, I've got to. It's better than the white. All right, so notice I don't have to be too careful here, and you're gonna have to change colors here and there just to have it match. So I'm doing that, but it's actually not coming out as effective as I'd like. What you can do is decrease the opacity to soften the effect, and yeah, it's really not working out nearly as good as I had hoped. It usually works out a lot better. All right, so you can simply, like, certain areas are darker, so I'm going to change the color by alt-clicking here and then painting in there. Okay, here I'll alt-click here and paint it in a light color. So that looks terrible. The other option is to be a little more careful here and select the layer mask. Go to your paintbrush and go back to normal mode, and I would soften it a little bit, and then just go in here and paint with black to mask out that edging. Oh, I forgot to increase my opacity up to 100. So you can click and shift click, and let's see, yeah, yeah, you can mask that out too. That's the other option. All right, I'm going to stop here. All right, man, good job. Take care. Bye.